businesses for their support for the 2025 season. Community Bank Freshwater, Brown Brothers Skip Bins, Ray White, Brookvale Mazda, Manly Spirits, DYRSL, Lions Ford Travel, Biggley Valgala and Monavale, JB Metropolitan, CMS Surveyors, Auto Body Smash Repairs, Brookvale Aluminium, Amazon Power Assay, Benedict Recycling and Building Materials, Blue Dog Signs, Hellpup, NB Marine, Oxford Falls Grammar School, Vine Apparel, Holiday Inn Estate, Loomis, Manly Pacific Sydney, Metronics, Riggs Brookvale, Grill and Destiny. Now don't forget to head down to the canteen behind the Northern Goal for tea, coffee, cold drinks, snacks, hot food or one of Primary Park's famous chicken schnitzel rolls. And if you're after a meal or a drink, the Licence Club, the Far Post, is open from midday every Saturday and Sunday on the eastern side of the field.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are just about set for our main game here tonight of NPL New South Wales Men's between your Manly United FC and the Northwest Sydney Spirit. The lineups are now confirmed and they are as follows. For the Northwest Sydney Spirit, number 1, Christopher Marquez. Number 5, Jordan Perez. Number 6, Corey Kavanagh. Number 7, Frankie Lukovic. Number 8, Grant Cornwell. Number 9, Yu Okubo. Number 13, Simon Nicholas. Number 15, Jamie Perchevsky. Number 17, Jacob Chiriak. Number 19, Zayn Awalia. And number 22, Takumi Ofuka. And on the bench, number 3,
Let's try that again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Good evening, everybody. A clash of the two early season surprise packets to kick off round 7 in the NPL New South Wales men's. Table toppers Spirit FC arrive at Cromer Park to face third place Manly United in an emerging Northern Sydney rivalry. Sound. Looking good. Well, good evening, everybody. A clash of the two early season surprise packets to kick off round 7 in the NPL New South Wales men's. Table toppers Spirit FC arrive at Cromer Park to face third place Manly United in an emerging Northern Sydney rivalry. Alex Molchanoff along with you for the coverage tonight on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. A pleasure to have your company. And while one way to build a rivalry and tensions is to play meaningful fixtures, there's no shortage of stakes for both clubs tonight. Spirit, the story of the early campaign with wins away at Blacktown and Apia without conceding a goal, sending a message to the rest of the competition. Now they're without a defeat in their first 6. They've cemented themselves as the front runners. Another 3 points here, and they'll be 7 clear, less than 2 months into the competition. So for Patrick Svanswijk's Manly United, their biggest test yet, but they're unbeaten in 4 themselves and have only conceded once over that period. Captain Alan Arganovich knows all too well the value of stability at the back. Manly's run to the grand final in 2022 relied largely on his partnership with Jimmy Oates. Now 3 seasons later, Irishman Aaron O'Driscoll has taken that position and looks one of the best signings of the summer. They'll need to blunt Spirit's Japanese duo of Afuka and Akubo, who have 7 goals between them already, if Manly want to slow the visitors' momentum this evening. Let's have a look at how they plan to do that with the team news. 2 changes from Patrick Svanswijk after their first win in their first game away from Cromer Park last weekend at St George City. They came from a goal down to win 2-1. And they resume with the same starting back 5. Levi Kay's in goal behind the back 4 of Jesse Pires, O'Driscoll and Arganovich, as well as Matt O'Donoghue at left back. Bilal Belkadi resumes alongside Harry van der Sarg at the base of a midfield 3, with Darcy Burgess on the back of 2 goals in his last 2. At the point of that, Ben Coop and Peter Kakaris into the side on the wings tonight behind the centre forward Lucas Meek. For Spirit, just the one change. It's enforced. Michael Conestabo not available tonight, so in comes Jake Chidiac. Otherwise, it's a familiar-looking side, even after that 1-1 draw against Sydney United last weekend. Chris Marks in goal behind a back 3 of the captain, Grant Cornwall, Jamie Pasewski and Simon Nicholas. Across the midfield, Zane Alawali on the right, Jordan Perez on the left, with Corey Kavanagh and Frankie Lucevic through the middle. Afuka and Akubo, the front 2, with Chidiac in behind them. So this is a fixture that's had goals galore over the last couple of years. A 4-2 win for Spirit at home last August. Manly United came away 3-2 victors on their last visit here back in round 12 last season. That was a wild night in its own right. The lights went out about 5 minutes before full time, with Spirit chasing a point. They weren't able to get that goal on that night. We'll see if they can answer this evening. A little bit of turnover in the 2 squads, but they look vastly improved from the efforts they put out last year, finishing 9th and 10th on the table respectively. Both have their sights set quite a bit higher up the table this time around. For David Perkovic, his 8th season as the Spirit coach, this is the most talented squad he's had at his disposal, and he has utilised them beautifully through the opening month and a half of the season. The tactical battle is an underlying storyline this evening. Spirit have been set up in a back 3, and of all the teams to make adjustments to their system, they've settled the most quickly. Manly United looking to stunt them tonight. Bilal Belkadi will have a big part in that. See him scampering across to put some pressure on Chidiac, the lone inclusion tonight for Spirit from that 1-1 draw, which they only got late. Jamie Pasewski's equaliser coming in stoppage time after they trailed for a long period in that game. First drop points of the season after a sparkling start for the side from Christie Park. See them settling into possession. For those less familiar with the competition, Spirit in yellow and black of the Hornsby Gladesville Association, with which they're so closely associated. And the United's local association. Manly Warringah is the largest in New South Wales. There's a chance for Chidiac in behind early, and a good sliding block from Jesse Perez. Mentioned Alan Aganovic's part in that 2022 grand final run. Jesse Perez was a big part of that as well. It was a Swiss Army knife for Adam Griffiths that year. Funnily enough, is about rumours to take over at the Newcastle Jets at the moment. Currently assisting Giancarlo Italiano at the Wellington Phoenix. Third season in charge for Patrick Zwanswijk. He might say the same thing as Berkovic in terms of the talent of his side. They've got some defending to do here, though. Meek lending a hand. That ball curled in by Jordan Perez. One of plenty of astute signings that have bedded in so quickly for Spirit during the summer months. Conestoga, a miss for them tonight, but one they'll feel they have adequate cover for. Form of Chidiac, who was a big part of their run to the Australia Cup round of 32 last season. Took on Melbourne Victory at home and fell in that game, but for the second time in 3 seasons they were able to get the Spirit name back onto the national stage. As it was in the late 90s and early 2000s in the NSL. Northern Spirit, it's a rather different iteration of that side's now, both in personnel and setup, but starting to climb back towards those headier heights. Of course, there's a chance for them on 2 fronts this season, not just the Cup, but the Australian Championship at the end of the year. Manly United might be having a cheeky glance at that. Only the premiers from this competition, the highest place finishers of the 5 establishment clubs. At the moment, 4 of the top 5 teams in the early season table fall outside that category. Spirit and Manly, 2 of them. Blacktown City, Rockdale, all there, with Marconi and Wollongong Wolves completing the top 6 after 6 weeks of the season. Mark's forced to use his feet and sitting down on his backside. It's actually Coop starting centrally for Manly United this evening, with Meek moving to the right. Coop's pace has always been his most easily identifiable asset. Smart footballer as well. Patrick Zwanswijk hoping he can provide some energy from the start after 2 terrific performances off the bench over the past couple of weeks. Scored and set up one in the 5-0 thumping of Mount Druitt Town Rangers here 2 weeks ago, and then got the assist for Darcy Burgess last week. Zwanswijk's been rotating his front line in the opening weeks of the season. Seems to be moving towards a team that can find the back of the net a little bit more consistently than they did in the opening month. Peter Kikeris part of that as well. Lovely touch from Burgess. He's looking full of confidence, trying to roll it in behind for Coop, who was behind in the foot race but slid in to make something of it ahead of Pasewski. Well gathered by Mark. So Manly United putting visitors under a little bit of early pressure. Simon Nicholas, one of the ones retained. See him on the ball now. From last season for Spirit FC. He's consistent at left back, but has moved into a central defensive position with the move to the back 3. Looking just as adept in that position as he was at fullback a season ago. Corey Kavanagh, one of the local products from Spirit FC, switching the ball out to Jordan Perez, one of the new arrivals. He's got a bit of space to run into as well. Afuka and Akubo, the 2 we mentioned in the pre-game. It's Afuka, skipping past a couple. Chidiac, can he deliver? It's an inventive idea, the cross with the outside of his right boot. Well read by Levi Kay, who was alive to the early danger. Ali Smolchanov along with you on the Football New South Wales YouTube page tonight. It's been a good tempo to start this one. We expected nothing less given the quality of football both these sides have been able to produce over the opening stages of this season. Spirit probably a little more consistently than their hosts this evening, but Manly United have come into their own over the past couple of weeks. Slow start last weekend against St George City. Conceded for the first time in more than 6 hours of football. Spirit have been on a similar run themselves over the opening month. Opening 3-2 win over Sydney FC. They went on a very long run without conceding. Included those 2 visits to Blacktown City and Apia, and they're looking smooth as they get forward. Afuka, the centrepiece. Perez wide, and again Kay had to get down to block. Didn't manage to hold on to it this time. It's a complaint that O'Driscoll was holding on to the shirt of Akubo. The ball is blasted against Meek, and such is the force of the ricochet that it ends up all the way back at the feet of Chris Marks. Spirit with most of possession in the early stages, but Manly United matching them in energy and enthusiasm. Donahue sweeping up the danger. He's got the job of marking Zain Alawalia, who was at Manly United last season, a solitary season at the football club. And an astute pick-up by Perkovic and Spirit. Burgess releasing on the left for Kikaris. Lovely duck inside. And he's getting in a shooting position. It bent so narrowly wide of Marks' post. And for all Spirit's possession in the early stages, it's Manly United who've created the best opportunity of the opening 9 minutes. Kakaris, who'd been through a slate of clubs himself, including Spirit, over the past few seasons, has found a happy home here at Manly United, back into the starting lineup this evening, almost making an immediate impact. All won by Meek, who's moved back out to the right this evening after starting through the middle for the majority of Manly's opening games. O'Driscoll clearing his lines. Bacardi and Kavanagh trading headers. But Donahue's block has deflected out to the left where Chidiak's waiting. Healthy crowd in tonight at Cromer Park, and they've had an all-action start to this one. Grant Cornwall on the right, longest tenured of Spirit's current playing squad. Goes back more than a decade now. Captain tonight was captain when they made it all the way and won the Waratah Cup back in 2022. The only second division side who's ever achieved that in New South Wales football. David Perkovic speaking on the Football New South Wales kickoff podcast this week, saying that's still probably the achievement he regards as his most proud in his time in charge of Spirit, alongside the promotion in that same season. Terrific chat with Teo Pellizzeri and Annabelle Banfield. If you're looking for that one, just search Kickoff New South Wales podcast, wherever you get them. Chats with sister of a Socceroo, Mel Caceres, who's starring for Apia Leichhardt in the NPL women's competition, which kicked off last weekend, and Noah Chianese playing down with the Southern Districts Raiders in League One. If you're a fan of New South Wales football, it's a must listen. Ganovic winning it for Bilal Belkadi, trying to blast it through a swarm of yellow bodies. Fuka and then Chidiak with a little bit of space just to consider their options. Perez joining in. Back for Lucevic. Brought it in the mid-season transfer window. The American will no doubt have an eye on the NCAA tournament that's happening at the moment. Attended a famous basketball school, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. He's a long-tenured soccer player, as they call it over there. Tidy midfielder, and he picks it up here. And the United set in behind the ball. You saw as the Camera pan that way. They had all 11 players behind it, and then dribbling his way into trouble was Pasevsky. So they're down a man at the back here as Kakaris drives forward. It's looking for Meek. Off-balance clearance from Vucevic. Did well to Bailey's side out of a bit of initial danger. Ball's hardly been out of play in the opening 12 minutes or so. It's a chance for Iwakubo to get off the back. That'll be a terrific little battle between he and Manly's two central defenders tonight. Generally, it's Mafuka the provider and Akubo the scorer, but can need to change in those roles as well. Both so versatile, both so mobile as well, which has been a part of what has made Spirit so successful in the opening stages of the season, been able to adjust to what the opposition have given them, in the words of Perkovic. Got to make sure they don't offer too much up to Manly United tonight, because they're in fine attacking flow themselves. Not least Darcy Burgess. Brilliant challenge from Chidiac. Van der Sug through a forest of bodies and tipped wide by Marks. Manly United leading that early shot count. Marks has been forced into a couple of diligent saves, shall we say. Not the most flashy, but that one certainly couldn't be committed given the potential of a deflection. Managed to see it around the post, but Van der Sag is over to take up the resulting corner. Swinging in towards the Spirit goalkeeper. Rising easily highest was Pasevsky. Used that at the other end last weekend to get the Spirit equaliser against Sydney United. Weaving figure of Takumi Afuka-san in the off-season from the Wollongong Wolves. Brought him over to Australia. Spent a little bit of time in the All-Ora Premier League, which we know the strength of that competition in its own right. Pasevsky. Only happy to let Spirit try and build up from the back, only applying pressure once they get towards halfway. Here's the former Manly United charge, Zayn Alawalia. Had his injury problems here last season, just couldn't find his way into the team. Patrick Zwanswijk, he's become a critical part of David Perkovic's setup in the early season. Pasevsky again. Searching ball that never really got close to its intended target. One concurrent fixture with us tonight down at Barton Park. St George FC taking on the inform Wollongong Wolves. Wolves have taken an early lead down at that famous old venue. Great to see it back in use this season, full time by St George FC. Playing some pretty thrilling football for the fans that are turning up there, but they've found themselves in an early hole this evening. Cornwall making sure that he held off Coop, who's stayed down as a result of the challenge. Referee tonight, Declan Woods, is happy for play to go on for the moment. Manly defending with 10, and Kubo was in an offside position. Regardless, Manly United not too happy because Ben Coop was clutching his face or his head. I have to say, from up here, the contact looked minimal, but Ben Coop certainly doesn't feel that way. Might have actually got a jab in the eye or something similar. Never a situation a footballer likes to get into. Spirit having an impromptu committee meeting at midfield, not completely satisfied with the way they've started this game. Compared to their quick starts earlier in the season, they were away a little bit slowly last weekend as well against Sydney United. quite a few conversations going on amongst the playing contingent. Perkovic has looked fairly calm in his demeanour to this point. Neither he or Patrick Svansvik are ones to really remonstrate too readily with their playing group. O'Driscoll wide for Jesse Perez. Judge the ball to perfection. Left Perez on his backside and Meek driving towards goal. Ball didn't match a pass to him. Game on a knife's edge in the early stages. Spirit probably second best by a small margin as we tick towards the 20-minute mark. One here on their first ever visit, but fell last season. Two 2-0 win back in 2023. Two now departed players from the club, Kodo Odokura. Wonderful two-footed midfielder that Perkovic had access to over the COVID pandemic. Mitch Davidson, who scored a key goal in their promotion push against the great rivals, the Northern Tigers, and liked playing against Northern teams generally. Perez flies into the challenge in the air, got above his opponent. And Kavanagh felt he was clipped. Play on, says the referee. Coop's ball didn't reach a player in a blue shirt. Belcardi trying to feed on the scraps. Retains possession for the hosts. Van der Sarg. So terrific here 2 weeks ago against Mount Druitt Town Rangers. Oh, with over 50 games of A-League men's experience, still only 25 years of age. Such as the glut of wingers and attacking players that Patrick Svansvik and his coaching staff have at their disposal, that he's been used in a central midfield role, even as a deep-lying midfielder as he is being used this evening. Ganovic taking the agricultural approach to clear his lines, making something of it, and was always second favourite, so Grant Cornwall using all those years of experience just to get his body in front and win his side a defensive free kick. Kubo with an uncharacteristically heavy touch. Say similar of Darcy Burgess as he knocks it out of play. Big weekends coming up around the NPL New South Wales. There are 2 games tonight which we'll keep you updated on. And tomorrow, Apia Leichhardt taking on Western Sydney Wanderers, Sydney Olympic against Sydney FC, and Rockdale Billenden against Blacktown City at 7 o'clock. And the big one on Sunday, match of the round in the NPL New South Wales men's. The Fairfield Derby, the traditional rivalry as Sydney United have been branding it. Sydney United versus Marconi Stallions at Adenza Park, 3 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. No doubt in front of a packed house. Wonder you'll be able to find that one where you found this one, as well as all the build up to that game on the NPL New South Wales socials. Another short stoppage as another Spirit player is attended to. It might be Frankie Lucevic, who's down just having copped a whack of his own. There's an underlying physicality to this game in the early stages. Jake Chidiak over to lend his advice to the physio with what he saw. Chris Marks in conversation with referee Woods. Spirit putting their heads together in the centre circle again. It's becoming a regular theme of the night. Spirit's attacking play has been what's differentiated their start this season to years gone by. Only managed 39 goals across their 30 games in the entirety of 2024. They're on pace for 80 at the moment. Such has been the fluidity of their start. 16 goals across the first 6 games, second only to RPL Leichhardt in the goals attacking statistic. Could say the same of Manly United if it held scoreless on 3 occasions already. The other 3 games have brought them 12 goals. A side that were the second lowest scoring in the competition last season, only to Sutherland Sharks, who only managed 32. Manly United, who were riddled by injuries throughout last year's campaign, seem to have a side that are looking fitter. And now Simon Nicholas, it is, making his way off the field with a towel to his head. So little reversion to the back 4 for Spirit at the moment. And the United sportingly playing the ball back to Chris Marks to get us back underway. Opening quarter of the game, the 2 best opportunities have gone Manly United's way. Levi Kay's had a bit of goalkeeping work to do, but not a shot on target to save yet. Driscoll's done a pretty good job at keeping a lid on Yua Kubo to this point. But you know, there's a long time for him to get involved in tonight's game. Peter Kakaris has had a bright start. Burgess playing it wide for Meek. Scored 2 goals in this possession. In his club debut against the Central Coast Mariners on the opening day. Hasn't scored since, but I don't know if a return to that possession might provide the route to goal. And Asag assessing his options with Donahue inside him. Developed in this area. He spent a couple of years away with the Western Sydney Wanderers Academy. He's returned here. Now the ball moved to the right where Meek's waiting. Stepping inside Perez. Coop playing hold up for Kakaris. Gets it back from Meek. Donahue there in support, but Spirit have well and truly had time to get bodies back. Van der Sarg. He's happy just to knock it back to Aganovic, and purpose has gone out of the attack somewhat. It's well won by Perez, who's made a habit of that at the start of his Spirit career. For a Cypriot background, spent time in Spain and Cyprus since leaving this competition back in 2018 with the Sutherland Sharks. Van der Sarg intercepting. Lovely touch from Meek. Just asked a yard too much of Coop. Manly are looking threatening. Just missing the final touch. Spirit not really being able to build anything meaningful in the last 10 minutes or so. They're already known as the competition's opportunists before this season. Manly United will be well aware that they can't get complacent with their position in the game, as positive as it has been, as much hope as it's given a healthy crowd here tonight at the Lucas Neal Standard at the far post. Licensed venue that sits alongside the ground. Fantastic place to watch a game of football. Spirit just taking their time over these restarts and not quite looking as sure of themselves as they have over the opening month and a half here tonight. Kavanagh, who's been on the periphery of this game, stepping across to intercept. Barker College product, right in the heartland of Spirits Football Club. He's considered the free kick here. It's late as Darcy Burgess getting a foot in front. So Manly United have a chance to send the tall timber forward for the set piece. And Driscoll and Aganovic will come forwards. Haven't got to the benches of both sides yet either tonight. There's a fair bit of attacking firepower on both of those. very high line being held by Spirit. Deep position for Harry van der Sarg to try and measure this cross. Plenty of whip on it, and Aganovic attacked it. No deflection off the Spirit defender, as Darcy Burgess was arguing. After a frantic tempo in the opening 10 or 15 minutes, it's just dropped off a little bit. Much cooler conditions than we were facing last weekend. With these teams playing on Saturday night, where the temperatures were still over 30 degrees in most parts of Sydney. Much more temperate, 24 degrees at kick-off tonight. Chudiak, always a willing runner, and the throw-in was in his favour this time. Ball inside's not bad either for a Fuka. Kumia Fuka. Well, he's back to goal. Pressured by Burgess. Still found a way out to feed Perez. And Perez is in the way, using his backside to block the follow-up from Afuka. Burgess did very nicely to get out of the initial press. Meek skipping past Nicholas. Eventually Kavanagh got a foot in. And Manly are out. So applause from their supporters. It's Bilal Belkadi. Back off O'Donoghue. Still there seem to be yellow shirts everywhere. And O'Donoghue shrugs off Aluwalia's attention. Back for Kikeris. Building nicely, Manly United. Touch from Meek wasn't bad either. Good recovery from Perez to get back, but the clearance is only as far as O'Driscoll, Van der Sarg and Belkadi. It's come back for Bilal Belkadi. Hesitant to challenge him because the ball was bouncing at that awkward handball risk height, shall we say. Harris into the 50-50 with Cornwall and winning the throw for Manly once again. Manly United trying to overturn a statistic that has haunted them over the last season or so. They were 9 games without a win over a top 6 opponent before their win in round 29 against Sydney United, a club they've had a brilliant record against over the last decade or so. Weren't able to get a win against any of the teams finishing in the top 6 a year ago. Get their first opportunity against one of them this season. Standing up to the challenge so far. That is the question mark over Patrick Swanswijk's side in the early season. They've had so much football at home. 5 of their first 6 games played at this venue. 4 of those by design. 1 by a rescheduled fixture against Sydney FC. So there was a knowledge they'd need to pick up points early. They managed to do that. It's a solitary loss to this point in the season against the Sutherland Sharks, and Coop is trying to keep that good record intact. Face to face with Pasewski and bending it past Marquez, but the wrong side of the post. Continuing to be a threat in behind, Ben Coop. He got the better of the big Spirit centre half there. And Chris Marks is having very firm words with the players in front of him. Not impressed with what he's seen over the opening half hour. Manly United not exactly breaking at will, but breaking frequently enough to send shivers through the back line and the goalkeeper. Spirit were well-drilled side, but know that they've had quite the challenge of this season of a team that's found their stride like Manly United. Certainly the quality of Blacktown City, that 4-0 win away, announced themselves as a threat this season to teams up the top. Following it up with a 3-0 win away at Apia Leichhardt was a good way to keep that train going. Both those teams have had question marks of their own, and Manly United seem to have ironed out their early season wrinkles. Taking it to the team at the top of the ladder. In the first half here, Donohue's shot took a deflection on the way through. Another Manly United set piece. Crowd are engaged and enthused and encouraged, much like the football side. Put in a very strong start to this game. Want a goal to show for it now. Spirits attacking wares are well established. Not one to let their opposition go unpunished if they're not able to capitalise on these moments where they are on top. Floated in by Van der Sar, and the spectacular effort from Pires, who's a terrific athlete, but catching the shin rather than the instep there. One for the cameras, certainly. What a goal. You see a right back scoring every single day. Certainly one like that. He just run his team out of trouble is Frankie Lucevic, and then getting himself in a little bit of a tangle of legs. Belcardi. Looks like he's gone to another level as a midfielder. He's always acknowledged as someone who is combative and happy to get into the rough and tumble in midfield. There's an added air of calmness to his game so far this season, which I think Patrick Zwanswijk will be rather pleased about. It's that rogue tackle amongst the good ones that have got him into trouble in the early stages of his career, but like a lot of these Manly United players, just reaching a more mature stage of their career where they want to step up and lead a team towards success. Plenty of attacking quality on the bench today as well. Tiger Kawano got his opening goal for the club on the opening day. Harry McCarthy not featuring in the squad today, but there is Farakoko, who's got 2 goals in the opening 6 games. Actually dropped out of the starting side today. Got some defending to do before they worry about attacking Manly. Afuka on the right. Even his radar just a little off. Plenty of touches in the opening stages, the Japanese startlet, but it's lacking that little piece of quality in the final third at the moment. Game in a real arm wrestle, but Manly just pushing Spirit closer and closer to the table at the minute. Not for lack of trying. Kubo's still ferocious in his press. He's used to doing hard work without too much reward. Season with Hills United after winning promotion with them. Knows how to play without the ball, and so Manly United will be alert to the danger he poses. Spirit's over in Japan in the 3rd division there. Gainer to Tori. Simon Nicholas, the former Apia Leichhardt player, a little closer to home. Shidiak's touch for a Kubo. There was an argument about a hand being stuck in there, quickly waved away by the referee. And David Perkovic is becoming increasingly animated towards the officials rather than his football team at the moment. Have at least got their foot on the ball in an attacking position, really, for the first time in a quarter of an hour or so. Cornwall. Sting really has got out of Spirit's game here. Proven their ability to turn things around, but it's just not quite on the same wavelength at the minute. Lucevic even there. That's a very risky pass. Heavy touch from Cornwall turns it over. Kakaris. Alawalia chasing back. There's more yellow shirts than blue ones, but Kakaris has got that match-winning influence if he wants to use it. He's curling it in for Coop. Pisevsky got there in front of him. Donohue's ball forward just headed back to Belcardi by Alawalia. Not having his finest night either in the opening stages. Touch from Coop, you fear Belcardi was offside in any case, but the ball beats him to the byline. As we've seen a few times already, Chris Marks asking for the midfielders to lift. And United being asked to press. This really is one for the tacticians. Way both teams have set up tonight. Really trying to press each other into areas, set little traps for the other to fall into. Perez not worried about that, trying to blast through all of it from the best part of 30 yards. But Levi K engaged for a moment before he saw it was flying past his post. Now the game has literally slowed to walking pace. When I said the Manly United technical area were really getting vocal and encouraging their side to press when Spirit were down the other end, it was Jimmy Snedden, who's been at the club for a little while now. Very active on the training pitch with the players and barking instructions from the touchline, almost more so than Svansvik at times. Trusted lieutenant for the former Central Coast Mariners defender. The ball slid out of play by Darcy Burgess. After that high tempo start, this game is looking as though if there's going to be a goal before the break, it's going to come from a moment where an individual player steps up and produces a moment of magic, or on the contrary, there's a slip from a defensive player. Let's hope from a neutral's perspective it's the prior rather than the latter. Kakaris, such is the compact nature of this game. He's playing on the left flank, but he's come all the way over to the right to get involved there. Burgess takes the space he's vacated. Interchanging passes with Donohue. Can Spirit draw Manly United into the trap? Spoke about that game at RPL Leichhardt. They seem to do it so often. All three goals coming from moments where RPU were just lured into a false sense of security. Manly United looking rather more aware of what Spirit are trying to do to them tonight. O'Driscoll managed to keep it in, right in front of Spirit technical area. Now their team have got it back. Cornwall trying to bend that one over the top. Alawalia is going to make something of it. In fact, he got there ahead of Aganovic. Zane Alawalia for Spirit. Noah Fuka in these areas where he loves to operate. Kavanagh joining in. For Chidiac on the left. Further for Perez. Once again, Manly United disciplined enough to force their opposition back, rather than allowing the attack to continue any further. Flicked over the top. Perez has come infield and gets the shot away. The first of the night for Spirit that's been on target. Levi K saw it all the way. He's safely in behind. Mentioned off the top of the broadcast, Manly United have only conceded 4 goals this season, and 3 of them came in round 2 defeat here against Sutherland. Since then, only Fumoto Kamada's curling effort last weekend, which was a spectacular strike, has gotten past Levi K. not oft talked about as one of the best goalkeepers in the competition, but he's growing into that calibre of player at 24 years of age. Same age Chris Marks was during Spirit FC's campaign. Had a terrific year in 2022. Did so many of the Spirit players involved. Oh, there's a chance here for Chidiac. It's an awkward one. But Donahue was just eased out of the contest for the ball by Akubo. So he's now off the ball, as much as we do on it. In the opening 42 minutes or so. Ben Cooper was doing a lot of fruitful running in the early stages, as been asked more and more to chase lost causes as this first half's gone on. Cornwall up with Kavanagh. High scoring nature of this fixture, not quite being lived up to in the opening half of this game. Which perhaps suggests we're seeing two sides a little bit more serious about challenging towards the top. So did the Blacktown City versus Sydney Olympic game, which was a very high standard last Saturday night. This one might even be a step above, just that the structures and the ways that both teams are trying to unpick the other. There is very little space for anyone to operate in out there at the minute. Fitness of the players, the concentration they're showing, diligence to their task. It's going to take a player like Lucas Meek to find a way through it. Perez through the back of him, but fairly, and then the whistle goes Spirit's way. Jordy Perez has had a fine start to this game. Sort of one he thrives in, where he can get into those 50-50s and then get himself forward to try and create something in an attacking sense. Marks launches long. Kubo, despite not being the tallest, is well renowned as one of the best aerial attackers in the competition, but even he couldn't get the better of Aganovich there. Is this the chance for Manly to break? Burgess cynically held by Pasewski right in front of the referee, and there was only one decision. Frustration from the Manly United players, but such is the quality of Darcy Burgess, I feel so Pasewski felt that was the only way to stop him. Tackle that wouldn't have been out of place down the road from here at Brookvale Oval. And a chance for Manly United to try and generate something as we tick into stoppage time. 3 minutes. Signal to be added on by fourth official Jasper White tonight. Again, Spirit holding that high line. We're seeing familiar themes throughout this game, and that has too much bend on it from Van der Sarg. No threat of a Manly United player getting on the end of it. I wonder, for those of you looking for more NPL New South Wales content during the week, mention the New South Wales Kickoff podcast, David Perkovich featuring this week. Go and check that one out wherever you get them, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can also find all the round previews and reviews, plenty of highlights content across the NPL NSW social pages. That's where you'll find us, NPL NSW on Instagram and X, or NPL New South Wales on Facebook. Whatever your social media of choice, we've got you covered for this fantastic competition and the women's, which is resuming on Sunday afternoon. The ball's played forward, but Kubo not able to make something of it. I feel that given the start to this game, Spirit will be happy to take parity at the break. And the United might be a little frustrated they weren't able to capitalise on the strong period they had. Probably 15 to 30 minutes, but really has been an arm wrestle either side of that. Opening stages of the game were very open. Suddenly it's been turned to the players playing in 15, 20 yards across the pitch, 22 of them at times. Pasevsky heading clear. Belcardi just keen that his side won't concede before the break, so happy to whack it up towards Marks. No doubt the game will open up again in the second half as both teams chase the victory. But in the shadows of the break, both happy to see out their lot perhaps. One last attack for Spirit, cut out by Perez. And now to Jordan Perez. Fuka. Vucevic happy to retain possession. Nicholas with something a little more ambitious across the face of the Manly United 18-yard box. Kavanagh flicking it back up in the air for Akubo. Down for Chidiac. Chance for Aluwalia to cross if he can get it under control. He touch betrayed him a little there. And Declan Wood says that's enough. So a free-flowing opening to this game, which has descended into a little bit of an arm wrestle. Both teams trying to gain the ascendancy through field position. Manly United's chances in the early stages came through Caceres and then Ben Coop, who both curled the ball wide of the post in the opening quarter of an hour. Levi Kay only forced into one save, which he made fairly comfortably from Jake Chidiac. But as we head to the sheds here at Cromer Park in the opening game of round 7 in the NPL New South Wales men's competition, it's Manly United 0, NWS Spirit FC 0.
from the Maringa Football Association joining us here today. Our representatives from Alambi Beacon Hill United playing us all-sided game here. So a round of applause for our future superstars here from Alambi Beacon Hill United.
Oxford Falls Grammar is an independent co-educational Christian school for students from kindergarten to year 12, located on expansive grounds in the northern beaches. At Oxford Falls Grammar, students are known and encouraged to aspire, learn and achieve their full potential. With state-of-the-art sports facilities and a wide range of curricular activities, students develop resilience, leadership and teamwork skills while engaging in opportunities beyond the classroom. Visit their website and book a tour today. Oxford Falls Grammar, inspiring students to be confident in life and inspiring your Manly United FC.
Welcome back to Cromer Park. The second half about to get underway between Manly United and Northwest Sydney Spirit in round 7 of the NPL New South Wales men's. It was a frantic start, followed by a little bit of a whimpering finish from both sides as they scrapped to hold on to the 0-0 draw going into the break. See if it opens up again at the start of the second half, much like it did to begin the game. No changes from either coach as they went up to half-time. Let's see how quickly one or either pull the trigger as they search for all 3 points rather than a share of the spoils this evening. Miners Spirit coming into this game at top of the league. No loss in their first 6 matches. In fact, they've dropped only 2 points. That came last weekend against Sydney United 58. Manly United sitting third as we get things back underway, and Bilal Belkadi's hesitation meant plenty of Manly United players had stolen a few extra yards. So referee Declan Woods says, let's do it all again. It's Alex Bolchanoff along with you for the coverage tonight on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. A pleasure to have your company from wherever you're watching around New South Wales or indeed the world. Temperate nights in the north of Sydney between two of this area's biggest clubs, ones that haven't been competing right at the top of the NPL in New South Wales for a little while, but might well be aiming to do so again for the first time in a while. Spirit, you have to go back to their Northern Spirit days in the NSL. And the United, couple of Australia Cup runs and the like in between, a couple of grand final victories in the New South Wales Premier League, but still without a premiership in more than 40 years. I'd like to be chasing some sort of silverware. It's a long way to go, long 30-game season, top 6 making it into the playoff rounds to try and make the grand final. They're the premiers this season, as long as they're not one of the 5 foundation clubs. Marconi, Sydney United, Wollongong Wolves, Apia Leichhardt, or Sydney Olympic will be taking a place in an Australian Championship at the end of the year as well. There's that little carrot dangling if the lure of silverware wasn't enough. Just a reminder that concurrent fixture going on down at Barton Park. Speaking of the history around this competition, St George FC getting an equaliser through by Antonio on 23 minutes after Rafael Liai not opening the scoring after just 2. He's found a little bit of a run of form for the Wollongong Wolves over the last couple of weeks, much in step with the rest of their team. It's a high-quality competition we are watching this season. Looking for a little bit more quality out of both of these two teams in the second half. Spirit short of their best in the opening 45 minutes, but they've gone into this break with the status quo maintained, and so an opportunity to steal a goal early in their second half, give their sturdy defence something to defend. Same could be said for Manly United, becoming the unmovable object of the competition. Its stingiest defence to this point. Zain Alawali is trying to breach the line down the right. Saganovic across to meet him. Former teammates here a year ago. Alawali onto his less favoured left, and Phil Aganovic knew that. Might have copped a whack in the face for his troubles there, Zain Alawali. Kukeris, who knows Spirit all too well due to his time there, having it taken off him by his former captain Cornwell, and then the two skippers clash as Aganovic halts the run. Tuck still alive though for Northwest Sydney Spirit. Lucevic for Aluwalia. Kavanagh choosing the conservative option. Lucevic taking a wide right position, and Kay had to be confident in coming because Akubo so efficient in those sorts of situations, but he did well. Calling Aganovic off the football. the pattern we got into towards the end of the first half, with both trying to outfox the other. Defence has had the measure of attack so far this evening. It's obvious in the scoreline. Manly United had a couple of chances in the opening 20 minutes or so, but weren't able to take either of them through Kakaris and Coop. Frustration that both players showed after turning up those chances suggested they knew that they might be few and far between the rest of the evening. That's proven the case. Spirit have taken that free kick very quickly. Manly United disputing the spot, but wasn't too far away. Aluwalia trying to keep it in play, did well to do that. Chidiac. Now Cornwell doesn't love those ball playing positions. He's an old-fashioned defender. Throw-in's not too bad though for a Kubo. Almost won it back off Meek, who did well to get Manly going forward. It's Darcy Burgess. Has 2 goals in his last 2 games, trying to turn provider. He's off balance and skewed the ball too far downfield. O'Driscoll and Aganovich and Kay trying to insert some energy into their side. Let's go through the benches while we've got the chance. So for Manly United, Tiger Kawanyo's there. Rocco Pella's a defensive option. Jasper Chipman, who's seen himself in and out of the starting lineup. Not yet 20-year-old. Farakoko as well has 2 goals in his start to life at the club. No Harry McCarthy for Manly United and Patrick Svansvik this evening. David Perkovic. Got plenty of options there as well. Kaya Williams hasn't featured yet this season. Came in towards the end of the last. 19-year-old. Brady Smith is the well-travelled veteran. More of a defensive option. Then you got Marco Aaron Basic, who got a goal a couple of weeks ago. 16-year-old Charlie Brumed and Austin Oates, another youngster, could be called upon this evening. Michael Conestabo, the missing link. Their early season attacking trident. He, along with Afuka and Akubo, have been so good. Spirit's ascent to the top of the league. Bench is looking fairly unmoved at the moment, though. Sensing that a moment is going to be all it's going to take to win this game if it continues in this fashion. Nicholas. Ganovich, who's been in that situation so many times down the years. So that he's still only 25 years of age, but captaining the side, second most senior player behind Burgess in this Manly United squad in 2025. It's a chance to get the cross in for Corey Kavanagh, who's been so impressive. Spirit start of the season, hasn't quite looked at his best tonight. Say the same of Aluwalia. Concedes the throw off O'Donoghue. It's a fixture that's been full of goals in the past. Never had a scoreless draw. 4 competitive meetings since Spirit's ascent to this division a couple of seasons ago. They've split the head-to-head 2 wins apiece. They've never had a draw in league football. The first season it was the 2 away sides that took the chocolates before the home teams did the double in 2024. Had 13 goals across those 2 games last year. 4-2 win to Spirit in August, after both teams were clear of the relegation zone and not a chance for the playoffs. Meek trying to use his running power, but he was held off well by Nicholas, who wanted a free kick as well and is making that fact known. Jordan Perez, who was so impressive for Spirit in the first half of this game, just clearing the danger. Meek actually copped a whack in the back of the head with the ball that time, and it ricochets off his noggin and out of play. Alex Molchanoff along with you on the Football New South Wales YouTube page tonight. A reminder, we've got a full slate of fixtures in this competition coming up over the next couple of days. Mount Druitt Rangers taking on St George City. Early kick-off at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Apia Leichhardt versus Western Sydney Wanderers, and a Sydney Olympic against Sydney FC at 6:30. Then Rockdale Illington taking on Blacktown City as the nightcap. And it's the big one at 3 o'clock on Sunday, the match of the round, and a well-earned title. Sydney United host Marconi Stallions. So Donohue's picked this ball up high. Oh, and the deflection proved tricky for Marks. Don't know if it might have been travelling wide in any case, but the fact it took a touch of Aluwalia meant he didn't have to worry. In fact, it almost looked an effort to try and keep the ball in play as much as it was to turn it behind. And away from the threat of ending up at the back of his net. 10 minutes into the second half, we've got its first meaningful attack, and Manly United have the first corner. Van der Sark to take. It goes deep towards O'Driscoll. Marks read the danger. Got a crucial punch because you feel the Irishman was the favourite. How'd he let it pass by? He's already got a goal from a set piece this season, Aaron O'Driscoll. Cherry Orchard Jr. over in Dublin. He'll be the target here again. In fact, it's Perez, and it's off the post. Took a deflection on the way through, so it'll be another corner. But that's the closest either side have come tonight. And it might have been a crucial intervention because I think Jesse Perez's initial header was goal bound. A third consecutive corner for Manly. Van der Sark again, deeper this time. Too deep for O'Driscoll. Clearance only as far as O'Donoghue. Burgess knocking the ball off the covering Kavanagh. Belcardi. Perkovic aware of the danger being offered by Van der Sark at the edge of the box. Making that clear to his team. Meek and Perez, a little bit of a miscommunication, but it's worked out okay. Lucas Meek into the area for Manly United. Brilliant piece of defending again from Nicholas. It's one who's flown under the radar in terms of his quality as a defensive stopper. You saw all of it right there. Plenty of defenders. Meek just would have breezed past. Not Simon Nicholas. The American still looking for his first goal since the opening day. Might have been looking to replicate one Lionel Messi, who was training with over at Inter Miami in the States before making the move to Australia. Coops trying to catch Marks out. Too much power on it. Good awareness from Manly United's number 9, but just lacking a yard's drop for it to fall in the back of the net. The game has come back to life as we tick towards the hour mark. The energy reinserted as both teams find their second wind. It's Jordan Perez's turn to attack down the left. Promising ball. Ooh, it was an edgy header from Matt O'Donoghue, but it did the job. Not quite averted yet, the danger, Manly United. Kavanagh sits up for him. Spilled by Kay. Akubo takes it over him. What a clever piece of striking play. A mistake from the goalkeeper, punished in full by Akubo. The star of Spirit's early season run strikes again. And they have got the first breakthrough at Cromer Park. It was Manly who inserted the pace, but it was Spirit who showed the poise when the chance presented itself. And Akubo has a 5th goal in 6 games to start his Spirit FC career. Just moments after Ben Coop nearly caught Chris Marks out. Mentioned in the first half that Manly might be made to pay for even those half chances, and so it has proven. Right on 60 minutes. Spirit prove they can breach even the sternest of defences. And now it's Manly United who have to chase this game. And how does that change the complexion of it? Darcy Burgess is going to become integral, but we'll be hoping it's in an attacking sense rather than chopping opponents down. Corey Kavanagh, like a thief in the night, sneaking by to take it off him. Yu Akubo's piece of opportunism when Levi Kay allowed the ball to rebound off him. Has put the visitors in front at Cromer Park. And so the changes come for Patrick Svansvik. Well, I thought Burgess might have a key say in this game, but he's being removed. Well, with Peter Kakaris, who had a good opportunity in the opening 10 minutes. Farakoko and Tiger Kawanyo are the replacements. Just looking at this setup now, it looks as though Patrick Svansvik is going to a 4-4-2 as his team chase this game. Will that change in structure, hold firm defensively? Might as much be the question as whether Manly United are able to find an equaliser. Disappointing for Manly because really developed out of nothing that chance, but Spirit have not been at their best tonight, perhaps proving their chops. And the fact that they've been below their best and still found their way into the lead after an hour. Forced to come from behind a couple of times this season, but as always, playing from the front is much more comfortable. Manly United came from a goal down last weekend to beat St George City. They had rather less time to catch them up. And Akubo is full of confidence. Just what a clever piece of play it was when he realised Kay had gone to ground to lob the ball over him. Almost used his body just to bundle it into the back of the net. Kawanyo, who's got fresh legs, but has conceded the throw in. Lucevic. His heavy touch put him the wrong side of Coop. He's happy to drag him down. And yeah, Harry van der Sarg not going to be allowed to get away with that. Almost at full pelt as it made its way towards him. You can see straight away Spirit back into a 5 defensively. That's been the setup all evening, it must be said. Swing backs then springing forward once they win the football. Zaganovic. Oh, Koko's found the wrong side of the defence. It just skips away from him off the artificial turf. It's been a highly touted youth product. Farakoko been through a number of the A-League men's academies. This pitch is playing quickly tonight. Look at that ball just scamper away from Lucas Meek, who is quick. Even he couldn't really make that a question of whether he'd get to it. So Spirit sitting pretty again. They can hang on to this lead. It will be a 7-point gap to Marconi ahead of that big derby against Sydney United on Sunday. Put an even bigger gap between the trio of teams locked on 11 points coming into the evening. Of course, only one of them, if Manly United can't find an equaliser here, can make that closer, because Blacktown and Rockdale are playing each other on Saturday night. Their competitors at the top are going to start falling by the wayside due to the nature of the fixtures. Interesting here, David Perkovic is readying Marco Aaron Basic. Certainly not a defensive move. They're going to thrust him forward for this set piece. He's a big boy and he's well and truly capable of getting on the end of one of these. In for Jake Chidiac, who has come into the side and done his job rather admirably this evening. It's his shot that forced the spill from Levi Kay and led to Iwakubo's goal. So a bit of added height for Corey Kavanagh as he searches for an assist for the second goal tonight. Aaron Basic goes to the front, Pasewski at the back. And the ball over the top of all of them. Oh, unless Aaron Basic can make something of it. Goodness me. That ball just floated up beautifully. Well weighted by Kavanagh. Deceived me. And Aaron Basic's first influence was almost to force another error from the Manly United goalkeeper. Perez for Van der Sarg. Again, the route is aerial from Manly United, and you feel, as this game wears on, going to have to throw some bigger bodies forward if they're going to take that route. Otherwise, it's the intricate stuff that'll do them nicely. They're able to show against Mount Druitt Town Rangers, able to show against the Central Coast Mariners on the opening day. We're able to show in patches last weekend against St George City. Stretching is Lucevic, and his presence forces O'Driscoll to put the ball behind for a corner rather than clear for a throw. How goals change games, and this one has flipped it in Spirit's favour. Not to say they were second best at the start of the second half, but certainly weren't as dominant as they're looking now, really all evening. Ball is whipped in low, well read by O'Donoghue, had to get there. Manly United can't get out. Kavanagh fires it back in. This time there's no mistake from Kay. He's looking to launch Manly in counter-attack. Beautiful piece of defending from Grant Cornwall. And now Manly United are struggling even to get out of their own end. Dangerous ball fired across, two deflections off O'Driscoll, then Aganovic. No Spirit player really in the postcode. Kubo was waiting hopefully at the back post. Such was the pace on the cross that the United defenders didn't have time to react, and so Jordan Perez can make his way over to the near touchline in his own time. Spirit searching for the safety of a second. The crowded penalty area in front of Kay. Swing in towards it. Oh, that's a beautiful set piece, and Aaron Basic was that close to knotting it in. Right from the training grounds. Ball fired into the front post, perfectly nudged on by Lucevic. And Aaron Basic was unmarked, but maybe a step ahead. Consternation over the location of Levi Kay's free kick. So 3/4 of this game gone. Iwakubo's goal separating the two teams at Cromer. Cardi's ball over the top. Is he the player for Zionswijk now? That will be one of the questions being discussed in the Manly United technical area. Push Van der Sarg into a more advanced position. Or do you want him starting the attacks? Ganovic actually overrunning that ball. Thankfully doesn't get enough on it to nudge it out of play. Spirit comfortable playing out of possession now, knowing they've got the pace and the quality to strike in transition. Confident in their defensive record that there's nothing much Manly can throw at them that they can't deal with. This game has ebbed and flowed. It flew out of the blocks and then eased a little. Slow through the start of the second half before the insertion of pace and the goal. And Marco Aaron Basic has had a fine start to his time on the pitch. He's bearing down on goal. Took it a little wide. Driscoll did well to sort his feet out and clear. Ball forward from O'Donoghue's one that's got the Manly United crowd full of voice as Kawano, well, ran into the only yellow shirt there. Didn't turn it over though. Nicholas only holding up the attack. Van der Sarg. Returns it to Kawano. As is his want, drifting out wide. That's where he made his name for Bankstown Berries a season ago. And now with Jesse Perez prone on the turf, the referee sees fit with Manly in possession just to stop play. So double sub coming, and it's the two youngsters for Patrick Zwanswijk. With 20 minutes to go, the end of the line for Matt O'Donoghue. Like-for-like change with Devine going in at left back. Now, who does Jasper Chipman find his way on for? It's at the end of the line for Ben Coop. Here's a couple of half chances for him tonight. His reintroduction to the starting team. Willing runner, but not able to find the match-winning moment this evening. Rocco Pella is going to find his way on as well. Jesse Perez not fit to continue. So that's it. Patrick Zwanswijk has emptied his bench. Now this group of players have 18 and a half minutes plus whatever is added on to try and find an equaliser. Try and keep themselves in third place at the end of the evening. At Barton Park, St George have taken the lead. Come from a goal down as Manly United did a weekend ago. Can they repeat the trick? O'Driscoll's got too much on that and lets out a roar in frustration. Manly would hold their place in third for now. Such is the impressive goal difference. But with Blacktown City taking on Rockdale Illingdon tomorrow night, we'll see them slide at least one spot down the table. Well, the result down at Barton Park with St George leading Wollongong is a positive one for them. Spirit's lead set to be extended to 7 points at the top of the table. And if you'd told anyone that, looking in this competition, I might have told you Spirit were going to have an improved year. I don't think anyone saw them 7 points clear, including David Perkovic. Piece of defending from Pella, but he's forced to concede the corner. Put you all the NPL men's fixtures a little earlier in the broadcast. Reminder, we've got a full slate of women's fixtures from 5 o'clock on Sunday as well. Find them where you found this one, as well as all the highlights and previews, match reports on the NPL NSW social pages. The corner's fired in. Kay fighting through yellow shirts to get a fist to it. Brave goalkeeping. Was aimed in towards Pasewski. Only half clear by Manly United. Aaron Basic. Back to the edge of the area, and Lucevic's ball is cut out by Kay. Now he's asked to retreat, and too much on it from Levi Kay. Some signs of frustration creeping in. Murmurs of discontent amongst the Manly United faithful in the Lucas Neal stand. Friday night returns of the last couple of years have seen the regrowth of the crowds after the COVID pandemic. Sloppy turnover from Lucevic. And brilliantly won back by Kavanagh. Hasn't he grown into this game? Devine thumps it into Lucevic again. Chipman always tidy in possession. Rarely gives it away. It's the sort of player Manly are looking for as they chase this game. Pella got away with one there. Clever touch from Meek to keep that ball from going out of play, and then an uncompromising challenge that didn't draw a whistle. Much to Lucas Meek's disbelief. It's a physical challenge from Jordan Perez, but a fair footballing one, according to the referee and his assistant, Isaac Riggs, on the far side, who had a very good view. Spirit have got to be careful they don't get sucked into just hitting long balls. So the same for Aganovic. That one's got Manly in a promising area. Heavy touch from Van der Sar, and Cornwall launches it onto the roof of the Lucas Neal stand. All 11 bodies behind the ball for Spirit now. Why wouldn't they be protecting this valuable one-goal lead? Sloppy from Van der Sar, not for the first time in the last 5 minutes or so. Good at desire and defensive diligence from Ryan Devine, getting back to clean up the mess. Seven games unbeaten to start a season. Spirit didn't even do this in their promotion campaign. Didn't win the league in their promotion campaign, despite winning the Waratah Cup in that same season back in 2022. Came up behind the Central Coast Mariners and St George City. It was a terrific League One season with the knowledge that year that the NPL New South Wales was expanding to 16 sides, so there was that carrot there for teams. A fantastic title chase. But this is a Spirit side that is growing into its own at the moment. Hasn't been their flashiest performance. Manly United have made them work for every inch. The host's inability to take their chances early has come back to bite them, along with the quality of Ua Kubo. Couldn't sort his feet out there. Chipman has it nicked off his toe by Kavanagh. Really has raised his level in the second half. Devine for Belcardi. Manly United need him to do the same. Van der Sar, another cheap turnover. Sloppy play. And Manly could be punished in full. Aganovic getting the better of Aaron Basic. They need Van der Sar to turn the game rather than turn over the football. Forward comes Pella. Van der Sar for Meek. Belcardi. Once again, the attack is slow in developing though, and Spirit can get back in their shape. Belcardi. Brady Smith is being readied, an experienced central defender. Just going to add another layer of steel to Spirit's resolve as they hang on to this game. Corey Kavanagh has covered every blade of artificial turf in that half of the pitch. Kwanyo took it off him. Chance for Van der Sar. Always rising and never really threatening Marx's net. It's been those sort of opportunities for Manly United tonight. They had two of them in the opening 20 minutes to Coop and Kakaris. Bending the ball around defenders, but wide of the post. Coop had a chance to catch Marks off his line just before Spirit went down the other end and got their goal. The latest of those chances falls to Harry Van der Sar, who was gobbling them up a couple of weeks ago against Mount Druitt Town Rangers. Not able to take that one. Just over 10 minutes to go. Getting that goal has Great Spirit, the equal stingiest defence in the competition. Manly United now at 5. That route to goal that has proved the question mark for the hosts this season in the games where they haven't gone big. It's returning to just nag in the back of their minds again this evening. Might be very much to the front of their minds if they're not able to get an equaliser here. Poor turnover from Akubo. Smith, who won't shirk a tackle, and see that right knee is heavily bandaged. Chipman stretching, but couldn't reel that one in. Cornwall. Alawalia returning it for Akubo, the goal scorer, who's clever enough to just knock it off Belcardi. A little bit more time eaten off the clock. Alawalia shrugs off Coco and feeds Akubo. Akubo trying to dance his way through. Almost ran into Marco Aaron Basic, and it's an audacious effort from Simon Nicholas. Struck it pretty well. It's going to be difficult to keep it down at that height. So Manly United try and build from the back again. They just not looked quite cutting enough in the second half. Divine. Marks can gather again. Spent some time away from the club. Returns after their promotion campaign in 2023 from Dulwich Hill. Spent some time in the Melbourne City and Central Coast Mariners Academy setups. During his junior years, now runs a goalkeeping academy of his own. This has actually just been named as the head of youth goalkeeping for Spirit FC, alongside his playing time, lending a hand to the next generation. Chris Marks setting a pretty good example at the moment. The way his team are defending in front of him has helped his cause. Kubo's goal scoring is helping his cause down the other end. Second only to Alek Rasevski now in the early season Golden Boot race. Rasevski typically brilliant in a brace last weekend against Sutherland to take his tally to 6 in his first 6 games. Brady Smith, who's had a very positive impact since coming on, turning to Australia. He's turned that off, and he's got some less than glowing words for the players ahead of him, who he felt might have given him a better option. Chipman using his body to draw the referee's whistle. Kavanagh still full of running, even in the depths of the second half. Pella is fresh off the bench, stands it up to the back post, and Coco was closing in. Alawalia dealt with the danger, and down he goes. Gonna whack in the back of the leg for his troubles. Coco's just looking as though he might still have a say in this game. Astute pickup for Manly United in the summer. In and out of the starting team, but has always made an impact when he's been called upon. Van der Sar needs to find a good delivery. Well, that's what he's done. Oh, Driscoll was closing in. Clearance drew groans from the Manly United fans. Kawania's when he cited another attacking set piece. Is this the way to an equaliser for Manly United? Just over 5 minutes to play. A few turnovers in the space of 5 or 10 minutes. Did Harry van der Sar, but being called upon again here by his team to find the telling cross. Cavalcade of bodies coming together. The last touch was a Spirit one, according to the referee. Draws applause from the Manly United fans. Pressure building. Kaya Williams is being readied by Spirit, but sequence of defensive set pieces meant he hasn't had a chance to come on. Vandersag back to the near side to do it again. Ganovich trying to get his body nice and straight up against the defender and then turned over in a dangerous area. Spirit have got numbers. Jordan Perez is on his last legs, but he leads the attack. And cuts inside. Coco got a shot away. Well, you could see him hurting as he made his way towards goal there, Jordan Perez. He has put in so much work down the left. Found himself in a position to lead the attack, though, and wasn't going to deprive his side of that opportunity at the cost of his own physical well-being. Still he's returning to his position. Teammates in cover. Shipman's just had balls put in awkward positions for him. Nothing crisp to his feet. Marks hits the deck as he clears. Devine right through the back of Akubo. But no whistle. And then flicking it only as far as Kavanagh. Now Akubo slips over. Belcardi leaves a bit on him. Coco. One of the few who could probably match him for pace is Zayn Alawalia. Good piece of defending, not for the first time down that flank. And now Kaya Williams will be able to make an appearance. Broke into the first team towards the end of last season. And that's the last contribution for Zayn Alawalia tonight. His attacking talents not required. The sturdiness of Kaya Williams at the back is. Kubo's battling his way through players. A little overzealous. The Spirit goal scorer. There is still time for Manly United here. They've turned the tide of this game in the last 10 minutes. Looking rank outsiders 20 minutes ago, less so now. Spirit resume their high line, floated towards Aganovich. Again by Kawanyo. Eventually cleared by Akubo. And a cheap free kick given away by Rocco Pellet. Fell out of frustration rather than any footballing practicality. Just going to eat a little bit more time out of Manly's chase. Kubo's strike, the only difference. Came just before the hour mark. Spilled shot from Jake Chidiak that was only parried into a dangerous area. And a brilliant piece of opportunism from Akubo. First to log the keeper and then to bundle it into the back of the net with his body. Spirit now feeling they're not getting the rub of the green. Handball, but in which direction? Free kick's gone Manly's way. David Perkovic, who's, shall we say, sparing with his frustration at officials generally. Could not believe his eyes on that occasion. Devine. Trying to slalom his way through, but Ua Kubo has been tireless. He's getting himself involved in midfield. Now he says, you Ronkai, you've got the fresh legs. And he's done well to make something of that with Belcardi. Rolling it right into the corner. And what was the WWE move from Belcardi to try and win the ball back? Was it? No, the free kick's gone Manly's way. Flag went the opposite direction initially. Panic setting in on both benches. Maybe that's a bit unkind. Perhaps just urgency. Spirit can sense how close they are to victory. And Coco flies into the tackle late. Cornwell, you don't say it often about defenders, but he is good at putting himself in positions to win free kicks. Did so there, outfoxing his younger opponent. And you feel Manly might just be a dime late and $1 short, or something like that. Day late and $1 short. Spirit rubbed salt into the wound, not quite. Lucas Meeks still running down the right, as he hasn't done all evening. Pella in a foot race with Nicholas, and the fresher legs went out. Can he get into the area? Nicholas stayed alive to the danger. But Manly have an attacking throw from which to base themselves. Van der Sarg looking to touch into a promising area, but it was a little bit too heavy. Chipman up. Pella returns it there. Van der Sarg into a more promising area this time. Chipman turning into trouble. Aaron Basic battering it against the head of Pella, who's stayed down. That really was some whack in the head. And with the ball in contest right on the halfway line, the referee stops play. The youngster can be looked at. He's straight back up on his feet, though. His teammates worried he's not concussed. That really did fire into Rocco Pella. Straight back to his feet, though, once the whistle had gone. Manly United get the benefit of the drop ball. Devine with a misplaced pass. Every one of those hurting double now for Manly United. It's going to be 5 minutes added on at the end here, so there is still time. Alawali down, O'Driscoll out, and Aaron Basic caught him on the way through. And now it's all hands on deck for Manly United. Everyone thrust forward. Levi Cade set to take this goal kick. Spirit keeping a very high line, so Cade's going to have to measure it. Meek wins the initial header. Running for it is Van der Sarg, and Marks collapses on it. Check of the watch from David Perkovic. Still pacing his technical area. Far enough is good enough for Spirit at the moment. Kay returns serve. Kavanagh batters it over the top of the far post. And there's no ball in close attendance. Kay playing ball boy. Manly have made a good 10 yards there. Where that ball went out of play, and a really sloppy bit of play from Jordan Perez. We mentioned he's on tired legs when he led that attack 10 minutes ago. Only imagine how he's feeling now in the depths of extra time or stoppage time. Solitary member of the wall is Lucevic. Everyone else lined up at the edge of the area. Chipman attacked it. Coco couldn't reel it in. Nicholas hoists it high and clear. Coco throwing his body around, no free kick. And then down goes, I think, Pasewski as he tried to dribble the ball clear, and that might just be enough. It'll be down the wrong end for Manly United in a moment. Yu Akubo, what a stunning start to this season he's had. It's going to continue The Japanese striker who finished with Hills United at the bottom of last season's table is going to sit top after 7 rounds with Spirit FC, potentially 7 points clear. What a difference 12 months makes. Not even that long. And he's been the catalyst for so much of the good stuff Spirit have done. Flying in his Kavanagh, who's had a mighty second half and wins his side another free kick. Has looked tireless and now over on his haunches, just taking a moment. The local boy turned good, leading this side from midfield. Manly United supporters starting to filter out. An early season defeat by Sutherland is set to be added to by one against Spirit, who hit 7 points clear at the end of the night. How many saw that coming? And it's Yua Kubo again, his 5th goal of the season already. A sparkling piece of opportunism. Really the only clear chance Spirit had. It was enough for all 3 points from Cromer, where Manly made a few more, but weren't able to capitalise. And Spirit's solid defence held out gamely for the remainder. It's been a pleasure to bring you this Friday night football from Cromer Park to start the NPL NSW Men's Round 7. Reminder to join us again tomorrow for all the action on Saturday. But it's Alex Molchanov signing off from Cromer, where it's finished. Manly United 0, Spirit FC 1.